Alright, hello everyone. It has been a little while since I've recorded a video, and the reason for that is I started a new job. Hopefully, the last one that I will ever hold, but you never know in this life. Had a lot of different jobs over the years, kind of considered myself a jack of all trades. This is a job where I make intricate parts, get to work with my hands using a variety of tools, really enjoy it. And it pays well. For the first time in my life, I am now a middle class citizen. Yay. Anyway, I'm working on the night shift right now, and so kind of trying to adjust to that and working a lot. Haven't had as much time or energy to produce videos and stuff, even though I have a huge backlist of stuff that I want and really need to talk about because this is timely stuff um, that people will need to know going forward. Hopefully, they'll be able to figure some of this stuff out on their own. But I feel like my job is to be sort of a watchman or warn people, tell people about some of this stuff so that they're not deceived as events continue to unfold in these tumultuous times. It's going to be a really interesting year. Anyway, I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to this particular scenario, these two ghostly shapes that were seen and I believe caught on video in Las Vegas, I'm not tremendously familiar with the story itself, but I've seen it pop up in a couple different places, and the general consensus in a lot of these stories seems to be that it's aliens. Um, in this video is some kind of, invisibility cloak or what have you. And, in this particular article says backyard aliens. The topic today of this video is invisibility technology. Because if you've been on my channel for any length of time, you can see in previous videos that I have some on what I call restricted technologies. Technology that exists, it's very advanced, and it's being kept from the public eye. All manner of different stuff, voice of God technology that can speak into your head, pain generators that can just incapacitate people in a large area, sonic generators that can do the same thing. So many things that, unless you've dug around into this stuff yourself, you're probably unaware that these technologies exist. The ability to project images onto the sky. Um, and we talked in a recent video about what UFO technology is, and metal. So metal orbs are actually a large percentage, about half, a little more than half of all UFO sightings are these metal spheres. And then saucer type sightings are also pretty common. And both of these technologies originated in Nazi Germany. They were top secret research projects that the Soviets and the US ended up capturing as we pressed in on either side into Berlin. And then the US and the Russians both took that technology and developed it to a high degree of sophistication. And the powers that be, and no, I'm not talking about governments, I'm talking about the powers that are above government. Um, some might call them the Illuminati, some might call them the New World Order, but these globalist powers working behind the scenes, um, they have their fingers in a lot of stuff and they appropriate promising and powerful technologies for themselves and they keep it to themselves. And that would be this voice of God stuff, these anti-gravitic craft, which, these have been around now for 80 plus years. I would imagine they're at an extremely high degree of sophistication at this point in time. And today we're going to talk about cloaking devices. So if you've ever watched sci-fi movies like the Predator series, I guess is the one that most readily comes to mind. That's an old series. Um, but really, if we're honest, for thousands of years, looking back into some mythologies and stuff, you have accounts of cloaks or shrouds of invisibility or magic spells that make people invisible. This has been a dream of humanity for a long time, invisibility devices, both on a personal level, the ability to cloak an individual, and on a larger scale, the ability to cloak vessels, ships, planes, you name it. And there's various types of cloaking, obviously, like our stealth craft that are designed with facets so that they can reflect radar in ways that make them harder to detect on radar or absorb radar to make them invisible and so forth. There's a whole host of technologies dedicated to various types of invisibility. And then there are various technologies specifically devoted to making things visible which are invisible or hard to see. Uh, you know, um, Infrared technologies and thermal and other forms of night vision. So this is a big deal, and the future of warfare and the future of the ability to dominate and deceive, populations of normal people like you and I. The future of that is in invisibility tech. And so as I mentioned, I don't really know the particulars of this Las Vegas scenario, but more and more people who are looking at this video footage are saying, yeah, there's really something there. Beings with cloaking devices of some kind. Now these are like humanoid figures with cloaking devices, and so human level optical camouflage has been around for a while, a couple decades at least. There was a an account. Some of you may be familiar with this if you've looked into UFO type sightings before. This is a pretty well known one. There was a high school football game. A lot of students there were seeing strange lights, often, I guess, the woods, that seemed to be maybe a craft of some kind. And at the same time, there was a hunter in a tree stand, and she reported that she was seeing this figure in another tree a little ways down, and this figure, this was in the same area as these UFO sightings, the same general area, same general time frame, and she was seeing this shape in the trees that it was invisible-ish in a predator alien type style. In the Predator movies, there's an alien that has a cloaking device, and it's not perfect in that it warps. You can see the background through it, but it kind of warps and distorts it, so you can still see if you look closely that there is a shape there, and you can kind of make out the outline of it and stuff in the Predator movies. That's a pretty popular science fiction action franchise, if in case you're not familiar. Well, she was saying it was pretty much like that, and so she had a cell phone on her. She tried taking a picture of this thing, and this was another um, detail of her story that makes it to me highly credible, along with the other eyewitnesses in the area. Is she took a picture of this thing, and there was a picture on her phone. I believe it was a flip phone back in the day. It wasn't a modern uh, smartphone. But the image, when she looked at it after the fact, there was an image file on the phone, but it was a resolution that was completely non-standard, and the image was just a junk image. So it was some, weird number of pixels, like 56 by 43 pixels or something, and just captured virtually nothing, as if there was some kind of scrambling device being used to suppress digital camera technology in the area as well. Now, that example was of an individual level, like a personal cloaking device for a humanoid. I'm going to show you some footage today of cloaking devices on craft, large craft, and these are large anti-gravitic craft that are capable of VTOL. They have VTOL capabilities, which is vertical takeoff and landing, and they also have obviously optical camouflage and possibly camouflage that extends into the non-visible spectrum as well. Um, Now, these videos, as I show them to you, they are going to be muted because mostly there's just profanity in the background of the viewers, like, what the heck is this thing? So I'll give my own commentary as we watch these videos. So let's go ahead and watch these, and they're extremely similar. Now, I will say this. Let me go ahead and just introduce these videos. So the source of these videos, I believe it was Mark Sargent. I don't quote me on that. I believe these videos come from his channel on. He has maybe it's Rockfin, something like that. However, there's another truther out there who's in his 30s, fairly young guy, extremely well informed. He is so well informed that I wonder if he's CIA. But I honestly, I forget the name of the guy. He also has a channel on one of these alternative video websites like Rockfin or something like that. Um, it was one of those two guys. I don't remember specifically which one, but it was one of those two. Mark Sargent has he's been under some scrutiny by the flat Earth slash truther community because when the flat earther movement was at its peak, the media jumped on him and started claiming that he was the leader of flat Earth and giving him a lot of TV and media coverage. And so I think a lot of flat earthers looked at that and kind of wondered if he was a plant within the flat Earth community. Don't really know. I don't know the guy. I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt. One thing I'll say about the truther community is we tend to be extremely skeptical and suspicious of people, and that's kind of our downfall. It's one thing that keeps us from organizing and really communicating effectively, I feel like. Anyway, regardless of source, these two videos are extremely interesting, so let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, let me turn this back on here. Alright, so in both these videos you're going to see that we have a cloud bank of thick clouds, and whatever it is above the clouds but on the edge, and that actually is a detail that lends a lot of credence to this. Notice that the clouds are being distorted. At points there's weird light that shifts around. The other video is extremely similar, we'll see that as well. What's fascinating about this is well, one thing that would be really interesting, maybe I'll do this later on, is look at this frame by frame. It might be possible to extrapolate the outline of whatever craft from these videos, like taking a look at this video and the other one, which is extremely similar to this, supposedly filmed in a different place. But these videos are absolutely fascinating, and yet they have some strange similarities to them. Now, what makes these videos credible to me, so imagine that you did have a some kind of anti-gravitic craft or airship, and that's a whole other arena of inquiry that maybe I want to revisit at some point. Um, if you think about that, the age or era of airships, uh, the Germans were way ahead of their time in so many things, and we know that they had these top secret research projects in the mountains of Poland, which is where their anti-gravitic research was being done. But they also were ahead of their time with the lighter than air stuff, which is an extremely economical and, according to people who had experienced it, very comfortable way of traveling. You're not as subjected to waves and weather and stuff like that as you would be taking a voyage by ship. Because in like an airship, for example, you can go up above the weather layer, which I think is the I forget, mesosphere, I believe is the layer in which most weather takes place. So if you can rise up above that point in a craft and get out of the weather, it's pretty smooth sailing up there. Um, I don't know if that would be possible in airships, what with the cabin pressure and things like that. But anyway, I do have to wonder if that entire line of technology, large passenger and cargo airships, if that was intentionally suppressed because the travel time in an airship is slower than an airplane. And so if you think about it, what do people what are people doing while they're cruising in an airship like the Hindenburg or, the Zeppelin or the Graf Spee? I don't remember. Anyway, all those airships with German names. And the U.S. had a lot of airships as well that the military was using for a while. But anyway, a passenger in one of these craft, what are they going to be doing? Well, they're going to be looking out the window and making observations. And so I kind of wonder, because they were trying to roll out the heliocentric deception around the turn of the year 1900. Uh, this was about the time that Freemasonry and Darwinism and Marxism and all these evil philosophies and ideas were really pushed on humanity. And people getting more interested in the occult as well, just in a general sense. But I kind of wonder a little bit if the lighter than air um, airship uh, trend was suppressed intentionally because they didn't want normal people up there in the sky being able to observe our Earth realm. Because surely that would lead people to start questioning some of the dogma, the scientific dogma that's forced down our throats today about the shape of the Earth and a great many other things. They want the skies for themselves, those who rule over this Earth realm. And what makes this particular video, these two videos rather, so interesting is you have the thick cloud bank and you have a craft that's above it, but on the edge of it. And this is exactly what you would do. This is exactly where you park your craft, your either airship or anti-gravitic vessel, whatever it is. Because if your invisibility cloak fails, you still have that cloud between you and the ground to block out a lot of, to still, shield you and keep you hidden. But with you being above and on the very edge of the cloud banks, you still have vantage. And so this is exactly the sort of position where if you're going to have a large, uh, highly sophisticated, highly advanced craft just hanging out in the skies somewhere, this is exactly where you would expect it to be. They're not going to be hanging out in the middle of the blue sky far from any clouds. If something happens to um, their cloaking, they're exposed and everyone has a clear line of sight or shot on them. So this is exactly what I would expect craft like this to be doing, like behavior-wise, from a tactical perspective. Um, so this just makes an incredible lot of sense to me. I'm actually just gonna loop this video one more time so you guys can watch it again, and then we'll go on to the next one. So what we see is there's something up there, but whatever it is it's warping and distorting light. At one point we see kind of almost a beam or spotlight, maybe shining around or waving. In the other video you'll see something similar where it's going out of control. There are probably some kind of emitters on this craft that maybe are malfunctioning and they're, or possibly it's in a position where various sensors that try to detect the background that it should be emulating are just being scrambled for some reason, maybe due to moisture, maybe due to weird atmospheric effects. Light is complicated. You have kind of this different texture of cloud coming in. So, whatever is generating this invisibility cloak's having trouble keeping up. And you see this in nature too, where you can fool animals like octopi or cuttlefish that have natural camouflage because they actually have their color vision does not work the same way that humans do, and so you can actually fool them into changing colors into something that really makes them stand out against the background instead of camouflaging them. And researchers play around with that stuff all the time. All right, well, let's take a look at the other video. And I have no context for these, like I don't know exactly where they were taken. These are the original names of these videos. I didn't change them, so one is Asian and one is US skies. But really beyond that, I just don't know. And these videos had a lot of profanity and stuff, so for that reason, again, I'm not playing the background audio. And this guy's seeing this. Where is it? I believe it's up here in this corner. Yeah, there we go. And same sort of thing. You're seeing this weird, like maybe there's some kind of light emitter that is, just going haywire due to the complexity of the lighting scene or scenario here that we have. And this guy's trying to look at this through his sunglasses to see if that helps discern what this is a little bit better. But again, same thing. You have thick clouds, and whatever this is, it's hovering there up and kind of on the edge so that it has vantage. But also, if the cloak fails completely, there's still that shroud that protects the craft from being seen directly from the ground. But these two videos have been taken from just the right position where they're out a little ways and they have that angle to see just a little bit up and above the clouds, not enough to really see exactly what this thing is, but to tell that something weird's going on up there. And again, this is not aliens. This is not angels or demons. This is human technology. Occam's razor. We live in an earth realm where human beings who are created in God's image, we are inventive, we make technology. So if you see something out there that you've never seen before, but it's clearly technological, Occam's razor says the most likely explanation for that is that it's human technology that's just been restricted, kept from the general public. I hope that makes sense to you. Aliens, they don't exist. Now, extra dimensionals, and within the upper echelons of our government, that's what they call these beings. Now, extra dimensionals, or what the Bible would call demons, they absolutely do exist, but they don't. To my knowledge, they don't currently have physical technology. They operate a little bit differently. From scriptures, we see that demons will try to in the past anyways. I don't know if they're permitted to do this. Well, I think they still are, but they can possess a host if someone has lowered their defenses to those demons. And when we start talking about quantum computing, I do believe that we're getting into computers that are an interface between our physical reality and the spiritual realm. And these are interfaces that demons can interact with and use. And they are trying to gain more control over the physical, but they themselves are not here in the earth realm in a physical form. I don't think. Now, I could be wrong about that. There's a lot we don't know. But this stuff, I'm 95% certain at any rate that this is human technology. Uh, and anyway, I hope that you have found this interesting. The reason I bring this up is because you're going to start seeing more and more of this. And how I know that is that the governments, France and the US especially, are starting to push this stuff more and more. And you're starting to have more and more, I'll use the term whistleblowers, but put it in quotations because I think that these people are being allowed to share certain things for the purpose of deception. They're talking more and more about aliens and alien craft and alien technology and communicating with aliens. Um, Now, some of that, yes, the controllers of our Earth realm who are above governments, above the governments of nations, these people are consorting with spiritual powers. They are in communication with the demonic realm. Absolutely. And they know that demons exist. They just call them extra dimensionals because it sanitizes it. It puts a little bit of a scientific spin on it uh, because they don't want to acknowledge that these entities that they are communicating with and quite possibly getting directions from. And it would not surprise me if some technology is inspired. Demon tech, we could call it. That would not surprise me at all, given that a lot of people in the cutting edge of science, working with CERN, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, NASA, and so forth, are mixed up in secret societies, the Nazis as well, secret societies, the occult, and Satan worship. Um, and so it really wouldn't surprise me if a lot of our cutting edge technology, especially the stuff that's we don't really quite understand, like quantum computing and things of that nature, it would not surprise me if some of this stuff was demonically inspired. But anyway, hope you found this video to be interesting. Think this stuff over and research it as well. And I'm just going to put this idea out there. If you guys are familiar with more video footage of stuff like this, put links down in the comments or feel free to send it to me. My email is johnstates@gmail.com. And it's spelled just like it sounds, John, Jon, States, as in United States, States. All one word at gmail.com. And, if you have any more great clips of restricted technology slash, UFO craft, by all means, send it my way. This stuff is incredibly fascinating. Unfortunately, with the internet and our cell phones now, so many people spend their lives looking down when we should be looking up because the future is going to come from above. All right, well, thanks for watching. Have a good one.